Test.
I take that as a yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good to see everyone. We're not in person much, so thank our folks that come from a distance for driving down. For Siobhan and I, it's just the way. All right, folks, we ready to go? All right, let's do the roll call. Mr. Carmen. Here. Mr. Eggers.
Present.
Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Ms. Millen. And Chair's here as well. I'm gonna miss this roll call. With respect to ethics, we know that conflicts of interest are not permitted. Are any members of the board, do you have any items that might present a conflict with the things we're considering today? All right, hearing none, move on. Next item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes for February 21st and April 3rd. Comments or questions, members? If not, we have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the state board's minutes for the meetings held on February 21st, 2025 and April 3rd, 2025.
By Mr. Eggers, second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Millen. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carries unanimously. Next item is county board appointments. Karen, this is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we have two vacancies to bring before you today, and the nominations have come from the North Carolina Democratic Party. In Chatham County, they have put forward as the first name is Robert Waldrop, second name Chad Charles. And then in Cherokee County, the first name is Susan Guess, and the second name is Marnie Kaufman. Traditionally, unless we know of another reason, the board generally selects the first name that's been put forward by the state party. So I put that before you for a motion.
Is there a motion? For Siobhan, it should be. Is there a Democratic nominee?
I move that the state board appoint Robert Waldrop to the Chatham County Board of Elections. May I do two?
Please.
And that also that the state board appoint Susan Guest to the Cherokee County Board of Elections.
Second. By second. Seconded by Mr. Carmen. Discussion or debate? Not so many in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Aaron, you wanted to make some comments, so the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I actually have breaking news to bring before you today. The U.S. Elections Assistance Commission, as we refer to the EAC, announced today the winners of their Clearinghouse Awards for 2024. We refer to these Clearinghouse Awards as Clearys, and they are presented annually across the U.S. for best practices in election administration. And the idea behind the Clearys, which came about in 2016, is to promote best practices in elections and celebrate the accomplishments of election officials. I'm excited to let you know that there are 53 jurisdictions that are recognized this year, and they had approximately 250 nominees or submissions. And there's more about this on their website, and a press release has gone out. We'll be putting out a press release because the state board is one of the award winners for our response to Hurricane Helene in the category of contingency planning, exemplary contingency planning, and emergency response efforts. I am also proud to say that we have been considered 4 different years in the past 5, and we have won in all 4 years that we've been considered. So this is our 4th Cleary Award. In addition to the state board being recognized, there are a number of county boards that have been awarded Clearys as well. And so I will go over that list. So bear with me, it is lengthy and I'm proud of that. So in the category for communications, distinguished voter education and communication initiatives, Buncombe County has been recognized as a large jurisdiction for their NC Together video project. And Durham County, also large jurisdiction, was awarded for their Durham County D-C-O or DCO, can't remember which way I think DCO is how they say it, Votes mobile app. And then in the category of contingency planning, which we were recognized in, Buncombe County was also recognized as a large jurisdiction for Helene disaster response. Wake County was also recognized in the large jurisdiction category for Election Day Emergency Action Plan. And then an honorable mention in that category went to Rockingham County Board of Elections for their Emergency Response Communications Plan. In the category of I voted stickers, creative and original I voted stickers, Currituck County was recognized as a small to medium jurisdiction for their sticker contest that generated a very Currituck County I voted sticker that features the lighthouse and the horses. Nice entry from there. And then an honorable mention went out to Union County Board of Elections. And then last but not least, in the category for security, innovation, and new tools in election security and technology, honorable mention went to Durham County for their election official supplemental security plan. So quite the award-winning state. And I know y'all are just as proud as I am for their accomplishments. And I've shared this with the team of 101, the state board, and all 100 county boards of elections, because it's such a reflection of the caliber of election administration in our state. So thank you, sir. Thank you, board members. And that's all that I have for today.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Next item on the agenda, Paul, I believe is yours. This is the Ramsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. As the board is familiar with, we occasionally get complaints up against county board members that the board has a procedure for considering. This is a complaint that comes out of Caldwell County. Lynette Ramsey is the voter who has filed this complaint against a member of the Caldwell County Board, Phil Engel. As the board is aware, the statutes provide the authority for the board to supervise the conduct of the County Board of Elections members and to, when necessary and within its discretion, to discipline and potentially remove county board members if warranted by the charges that are put forward, the evidence that's put forward. This board has also adopted procedures for handling those complaints to the administrative code, in particular 08 NCAC 03.0102 discusses an initial consideration, which is what's before the board today. And if it passes that initial consideration, having a hearing where the board member in question would have notice and an opportunity to be heard. But the initial consideration is what's before the board today. What the board is charged with deciding today is whether the charges preferred, the charges attached to the complaint indicate or includes prima facie evidence of any of the following. Number one, a violation of the administrative rules for elections or any election law under Chapter 163 of the general statutes. Number two, a breach of duty imposed by Chapter 163. Or number three, participation in irregularities, incapacity, or incompetency to discharge the duties of the office. And if the board were to find that, the board would need to set a hearing, as I mentioned, for the consideration of the complaint and evidentiary hearing with notice and opportunity for the board member to be heard. The complaints, the board is, I'm sure, aware of it. It's been posted on our meeting webpage. It concerns allegations about social media posts of a political nature. So I will turn it back over to the chair, but I'm happy to answer any questions as the board considers this item.
Okay, members of the board. Questions for Paul? Well, apparently there are no questions for Paul, but it seems like he wants to make a statement.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I looked through this record and I would note that, or the complaint, and would note that we've been very consistent with our social media policy and that we do not want our county board members posting about politics or candidates as part of their their service as a county board member. And there are several statements on this social media that I think would potentially run afoul of our social media policy. I'm mindful of the instructions Mr. Cox has given us related to inter-party leadership struggles not being something that we regulate. And I'm also mindful that we don't want to find ourselves in the position where folks are weaponizing our policies against us for personal grudges or for personal vendettas. But with that being said, the standard before us is whether there's probable cause to find there's a violation of one of our policies or rules, and posting about candidates as listed there, I think does meet that prima facie criteria. The other items I'm not as concerned with, but the item as it relates to the social media policy, at the very least, meets those criteria to be addressed. Whether it's something we remove a board member for is, of course, a discussion we could have later, but that's my reading of the complaint in front of us.
Thank you, Mr. Eggers. Other members of the board?
I would agree with everything Mr. Eggers has just said, and for me, the concern is whether Mr. Ingalls has an official role in the county party, which under GS 16330B2 would make him ineligible to serve if he held any office, in that organization. And I think that's a fact question that I think we could get into at a hearing. But I would, from what it looked like in the materials, when he signs his name, he signs it on social media. He signs it with, is it Caldwell County GOP? Or something that indicates he sort of speaks for the county party. And that is an item of concern to me.
Jeff, Kevin, any comments?
I haven't been a county board member for a number of years, and also I've been on social media since like 2011. And the way I approached it is, if you scroll through my social media, you'll see things I do with my family, and you'll see delicious meals that I have eaten over the years. And so it's not too difficult to, stay out of trouble when it comes to our social media policy. And so, I'm mindful that these terms are coming toward an end. I'm also mindful that there's been previous board member complaints that I thought a prima facie case had been made that this board rejected. But I agree with at least as a question has been raised that might need to be addressed in the future.
Thank you, Kevin. Jeff, anything you want to add?
Almost everything that's been said. I would like to add that we have, as a board, bent over backwards to say what not to do and what you shouldn't do and please don't do. And we have, as a board, removed a member for doing things very similar to this. So I think the precedent is in place where it warrants a hearing.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, no.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I'll do the second.
Well, thanks, sir. Mr. Chairman, I would move the state board find prima facie evidence as to a violation of our election laws or duties of a county board member, such that we would need to schedule a hearing upon this complaint.
Okay, Mr. Eggers moves, Mr. Clarkman seconds.
Mr. Chairman, if I may state that hearing to be set at a date in the discretion of the chair.
Thank you, sir. All right, further comments? All right, if not so many as favor the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, it's unanimously. All right, Lindsay, you're up next. Waiver of campaigns finance penalty.
Good afternoon, board members, and I'm going to apologize in advance if I cough at any point. It is still pollen season. But we have a group of waiver requests to bring before you for your consideration today. As you know, a committee that files a campaign finance disclosure report late is subject to a civil late penalty under 163-278.34. After those penalties are assessed, the committee may request a waiver from the State Board of Elections, and the State Board may waive a penalty if it determines there is good cause for the waiver. It is within the board's discretion to waive an entire penalty or to reduce the penalty by any amount. To facilitate the consideration of waiver requests that are received by the State Board of Elections, legal and campaign finance staff review and research each request and develop recommendations for the State Board's consideration. Those recommendations have been summarized in a spreadsheet and in other materials that were provided to the board in advance of this meeting and that have also been posted online. Recommendations are developed consistent with the factors that the State Board adopted in 08 NCAC 21.0206. Beyond the particular examples that are outlined in the statute, of course, the board can consider other factors in determining whether or not to waive the penalty assessment. However, those factors are what we largely look to in developing our recommendations for the State Board of Elections. There are 52 committees being brought before you today. More waiver requests than that because some of these committees have multiple requests, so I don't have the full number of waiver requests, but 52 committees that are bringing requests before the board. These primarily relate to penalty assessments for the 2023 year-end semi-annual report, 2024 first quarter report, and 2024 second quarter report. Because for most committees, these are early reports in the election cycle, you do see quite a few where this is the first late report of the committee for the election cycle. And under that circumstances, if there are no outstanding penalties, we will recommend a waiver. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about any of the waiver requests before you today or any general questions about the process. Thank you.
Questions for Liz? If not, any comments or concerns about them by members?
Mr. Chairman, I would just thank our staff for their work that they do for us. And as usual, I find their work to be well-based in our policies and procedures that we have. And I did not find anyone on the list that I disagreed with.
And anyone else? Kevin?
Mr. Chairman, having considered the written requests of the committees, I move that the State Board find good cause to grant the waiver requests as recommended by staff at this meeting and direct staff to provide notice to the committees that penalties have been waived. I further move that the State Board deny the waiver requests as recommended by staff at this meeting and direct staff to send notice of the denials to those committees.
Okay, Mr. Lewis has moved. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Millen. Further discussion? If not so many as favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right, the next item on the agenda is the board contact information rule. Adam, I believe this is yours.
Thank you. That's right. So the next item before you is the agency's contact information rule. And this is, it's actually the very first rule in Title VIII, which is where the agency's rules are in the administrative code. And so the rule, the citation for it is 08 NCAC 01.0101. And this is just a simple rule. It provides the contact information for the state board. The current rule, it has a physical address for the state board that is not here where you are right now. And so what this is proposing to do is just update that information, essentially with the information you'd find if you go to the contact page on the state board's website. So it updates the physical address, adds the mailing address, phone number, email, website, and then just keeps the regular operating hours there as 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the one difference for this rule from the other ones that usually come before you, this one doesn't go through any notice and comment. It just goes straight to the codifier if you approve it, and then they'll make that change in the code.
Yeah, that's because this one is so controversial.
I think the address listed in the rules is currently construction site, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, questions of Adam or comments by members?
I'll just say in a previous life, I used to bring registration forms to this office and to the old office. So I appreciate when correct information is online for people doing that kind of work so they can find the office.
There you go. All right, is there a motion?
I'll move that the State Board of Elections amend Rule 08 NCAC 01.0101 as proposed by staff.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Millen, seconded by Mr. Eggers. Further discussion? Not so many as favor the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. The one remaining item on our agenda is a closed session. Paul, you know, I always like to be able to tell the public as much as we can about this. So is there?
Yeah, I'll provide just a little bit of background. So, you know, the state board occasionally finds itself in litigation, and you know, the rules about open meetings provide for if there are discussions that need to be had with our counsel about those lawsuits, cases, then those need to happen in a closed session. And so what we're proposing is to allow the board to get confidential advice of counsel for two particular cases. And if you make the motion, you would need to identify those particular cases as I've set forth in a draft motion before the board. But beyond that, you know, because it is confidential attorney advice, I won't go into the details about what would be discussed in that session, but just to say that you know, it's a routine matter whenever we have litigation and the board needs to get advice of counsel. We would go into closed session and identify the statute that allows for that closed session and also the court cases that would be discussed in that closed session.
Do you recommend any discussion when we return from closed session?
I recommend the board just move to go back into open session, and then because there's nothing more on the agenda, that it would just be a vote to adjourn.
Okay, well then, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session in just a moment. But before we do, just as a matter of personal privilege, this may be the last meeting of this board or not. You know, we don't really have any idea. Certainly possible that this is. I just like to, I've been now on the board for 2 years and like to say with respect to staff, with Karen, Paul, going down the list here, Adam and Lindsay and Candace, how much I'm impressed by the level of professionalism and extraordinarily hard work that you all do. It's been a great pleasure and it's been a lot of fun for me. So thank you. It's
Could you define fun?
I'm sorry, I'm not permitted to answer that question.
Mr. Chairman, it has been a pleasure and honor to serve with all of you and also with our staff as well.
Well, you know, I neglected to say, and I should, I'm just going to go down the list for Jeff and for Siobhan and Kevin. We often disagree about this or that, but it's been a remarkably pleasant, thoughtful, kind, decent process. And so I thank you all. And who knows, we may meet again and then I'll have to say something else.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, I let me echo, you know, what you said. It's been a great pleasure serving with the four of you. When I was on the county board, I was fond of saying that 99% of everything we did was unanimous. The percentage is probably not quite as high on this board, but the service though, and the professionalism, and just what great people that take their time to do this work. It's been my pleasure to sit with you here. So thank you.
All right, is there a motion for closed session?
Well, wait a second. We've all been mushy, so let me. Let me get my mushiness in. It has truly been a pleasure. I think we have been the example that we have asked other boards to be. I am proud that we are able to agree to disagree. I hope that what we've been able to accomplish far outlives our time on the board. And I hope other organizations will stop and take a look and see and remember what we're all here to do. And it's not to further our personal issues, but to represent the citizens of the state. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Jeff.
I will just echo what everybody else has said and say what a great pleasure it has been to serve on this board. And I think everyone at this table has the interests of the public at heart, and they may go about things in different ways, but they're all very professional people, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve with them.
Okay, is there a motion?
All right. I'll move that we go into closed session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have to say all this? I move that the state board go into closed session pursuant to NCGS section 143-318.11A3 to receive the advice of counsel regarding, should I say the cases? Yes. Regarding the following cases: Voto Latino v. Hirsch and Democratic National Committee v. Hirsch.
I will second that motion.
One thing I didn't look forward to is being a defendant in lawsuit. All right, any comments? So many, as favor of the motion to go into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's unanimous.